Am I the jerk for telling my sibling that just because they're a social worker, it doesn't mean they always know what's best for foster kids? My sister, who is in her 30s, is a social worker. My husband and I, who are also in our 30s, are foster parents. We are currently long-term foster parents for biological siblings. The siblings lost their sole parent a couple of years ago. They have half-siblings from the same parent who are much older and now adults. Our foster children miss their half-siblings and have craved a relationship with them. However, the half-siblings have chosen not to have contact. From the limited information we have about our foster children's lives before they came to live with us, any visits that occurred while the half-siblings were minors were forced on the older children, who did not wish to maintain contact. This has been extremely difficult for our foster children, and we have advocated for them to be in therapy, which was approved. They go once a week. However, they often ask about their half-siblings and beg us to arrange time for them to see them. My sister is aware of this and has spoken to my husband and me 3 different times about how we need to do more to ensure this relationship between siblings. We have told her that is not possible. She told us we are failing our foster children. She said we need to find out the information of these half-siblings and fight for contact. She suggested we could bring it to court if needed. I reminded her that is not something we can do. She told me the children will never see us as parents or want to be in our family if we keep them from their siblings. She emphasized how important sibling relationships are and mentioned that as a social worker, she knows how these things work better than anyone in the family. I told her that just because she is a social worker, it does not mean she always knows what is best for foster children. I mentioned that she also has no control over adult decisions that are made, which is something she should know as a social worker. She told me I should take her professional advice and stop invalidating her profession and experience, like I did just there. Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong here. Your sister needs to understand that forcing a relationship with the half-siblings when they're not interested is only going to end badly. As a social worker, she should know that broken families have individual nuances that need to be handled on a case-by-case basis. It's sad, but sometimes the best you can do is wait until the kids are older and let them decide if they want to reconnect later in life. Am I the jerk for not going to see my parent in the hospital? I need some advice. Am I the asshole? I, 47-year-old male, and my father, 75-year-old male, have had a difficult relationship my entire life. In the last 2 years, we have been talking more frequently and openly. I am in Los Angeles now, and he is in Arizona. I drive over on weekends to help him around the house. He has been telling me he does not have people in his life or any help. All past history aside, I felt a duty to help him and wanted to build a relationship. Last year, I drove 15 900-mile round trips to help and visit him. Recently, he and I, through the family trust, purchased an investment home. Our plan was for me to do the repairs that did not require permits, paint, and install new carpet. In May, I had an injury and needed to have knee surgery in July, so we decided to hire contractors. Last Wednesday, he was supposedly working on the new house and fell off the roof. Luckily, he only had minor injuries, including some broken ribs and a collarbone. It was the best-case scenario. Though on Friday night he crashed, came back and is stable now. It was very unexpected. In a panic on Friday night, I packed up the car to head to Arizona, thinking he had no one to help him or be there. Then I remembered I have to be in Oregon for doctor appointments this week and back in Los Angeles for knee surgery next week. So I packed for both places and prepared to drive 3,200 miles in the next 10 days. Saturday, while I was getting ready to leave, I got a call from a woman claiming to be my dad's girlfriend, 70-year-old female, for the last 7 years. I was skeptical at first since my dad has been stating he has been single for almost 10 years. She and I talked for about 30 minutes. It turns out she is his girlfriend of 7 years, and he has a secret family. She was very kind, and we had a good conversation and filled in many blanks for each other. He has not told a single person in my family about her. He has been lying to her that we all know about her. I do not know why after 7 years, she did not think it was strange to have not met any of us. Though that is her conversation with my dad. As well as I found out that the investment house is for them to live in, and I was expected to fix it up for them. He used $54,000 of my trust and savings for the down payment. Here is where I am asking if I am the asshole. I am feeling very conflicted right now. He is my father and in the hospital. Much of me wants to put off my medical issues and rush to his side. Another part of me feels so betrayed and manipulated again. That part is telling me to take care of my knee and my medical issues. I live alone, am single, and do not have help during my recovery. I have no family, few friends in Los Angeles, and am struggling. He was supposedly going to help me, though historically, he has not followed through on offers of help. Am I the asshole for not going to see him and instead taking care of myself before and after my surgery? You haven't done anything wrong. You could wreck your health by doing all that driving before knee surgery. It's clear he snookered you the entire time, using your trust money for his own benefit. Lawyer up to secure your money and property, as he has no intention of you having anything. Am I the jerk for telling my parent to not say the N-word as a joke? For context, my family consists of my mother, who is 48 years old, my father, who is 49 years old, my sister, who is 16 years old, and me, who is 13 years old. We are all white. This all started because my sister wanted to go to a Sexy Red concert. Sexy Red is a black rapper. She was asking my mother about it and showing her the songs. My mother Googled the lyrics to one of her songs and started singing along. She said the N-word while singing along, but I figured she had just slipped up, and I did not say anything. Later that same day, we all sat down to watch a movie. My sister brought up the concert again, and my mother responded, "Yeah, N-R," my sister yelled, "Mom," but more in a joking way. I said, "Mom, you can't say that. It's not okay," my mother replied, saying it was just a quote from the rapper. I raised my voice and said, "You can't say that. It is seriously not okay and not funny." My father told me to stop, but I said, "No, you guys are being racist." I felt uncomfortable and went downstairs. A couple of minutes later, my father came down to talk to me. He said that I was overreacting and that I was going to run into a lot worse racism in my life, and I could not always freak out like that. I told him that I had already encountered racism and that kids at my school could be pretty racist and say the N-word as well. He asked me if it was in a "what's up my N-ray" way or a derogatory way. I told him that he and my mother were both in the wrong and that I was not going to support them acting like this. He got mad and said that he and my mother were not racist, and it was not directed towards any black person. She was quoting someone. I said it was still wrong because she was almost mocking the black rapper. My father left, and I could hear him, my mother, and my sister trash talking me and calling me sensitive from upstairs. Skip forward to today. My mother said she wanted to talk to me once I came upstairs. She apologized for making me upset but said she was just referencing an inside joke between our family and it was not directed towards anyone. I said I did not want to be a part of a family joke that included saying the N-word because that felt very wrong in a family of white people. We were all planning on going on a hike together, but my mother said I could not go because I was being pissy. I barely even got mad at her. I just left the room. Now she, my father, and my sister are all mad at me and calling me sensitive and dramatic. My sister said I do not get to pretend it offends me because I am white, and our town is mainly white. I said it does not offend me particularly, but I was just standing up for what I thought was right. I do not know what to do because they are all mad at me and not speaking to me, and now I am questioning if I overreacted. In a separate instance, my mother said the N-word again, hard all times, when she was repeating something a character said in a movie. I have never heard her or my father use it towards a person in real life, so they are not necessarily racist, but the whole situation felt gross. Maybe it is a generational thing, I do not know. Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk. It's crazy how a 13-year-old has more sense than grown adults to not say racial slurs as a joke. Generational habits are no excuse. People can learn not to say or act a certain way. They're being intentionally ignorant. Furthermore, them punishing you and not speaking to you for refusing to be okay with racism is just wild. Am I the jerk for not calling someone ugly? I, a 36-year-old man, have been married to my 35-year-old wife for 8 years. We've been together for 14 years in total. We don't fight about much, but when we do, it's usually related to something that was on television. Usually, it involves brief nudity, sex scenes, or just girls changing clothes. Picture the scene from The Batman when Zoe Kravitz is changing clothes. Over the course of our relationship, intimacy had fallen off to a couple of times a month about a year before marriage. Just before getting married, she suggested we stop having sex altogether, citing religion as her reasoning. I pushed back, but ultimately, it was her choice. Looking back, I should have terminated the relationship then and there. We had a baby boy, and he is great. He gets all the love and attention a child could want. Intimacy happens extremely sporadically, and this really affects my psyche. I go through rough bouts of depression and unhappiness. Unlike most posters here, we've had those adult conversations. She's fully aware of my feelings, and I am aware of hers. She uses our lack of intimacy as a reason to get upset with me for seeing stuff on run-of-the-mill television. We were watching a show where a character steps out of a dressing room in a nice evening dress looking awful. I made a comment saying that the girl on television looks bad, and her hairstyle didn't fit her. It was nothing sexual or outright demeaning, more constructive criticism. A few moments passed, and another character stepped out of the dressing room. She's naturally pretty and looks good, but I didn't say a word negative or positive about her. I just sat there silently. My wife immediately got up and started going on about how I didn't say anything bad about the pretty one, and I really backed myself into a corner. I was quite shocked that I was now getting grilled over not saying something negative about the one who looks decent, but I'll say something about the awkward-looking one. Her feelings were hurt. I've had to deal with these games over the years, and I've really had enough. It's gotten to the point where I really can't stand watching television with her. I firmly stood my ground this time as I've literally done nothing wrong. Words were exchanged, and she finally came out with the real reason she was upset. I didn't say sorry for making her feel bad even though she knows and acknowledges it wasn't my intent. I'm still confused about how it made her upset in the first place. She started digging up issues from the past as justification for her immediate problem. I'm truthfully considering divorce, but our son is the only thing keeping me around at this point. Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk here. Staying together for the kids is rarely a good idea. It's a very toxic environment for both you and your kid. If you don't want a divorce, then you need to put your foot down and stop enabling that behavior. Consider your happiness because it's better for you and your son in the long run. Am I the jerk for acting like a spoiled brat according to my sister? Some relevant information. My dad passed away when I was only 5 months old, leaving my mom a single mother of 6. My siblings and I have a significant age gap, so losing our dad was tough on everyone, but somehow my mom made it through. That being said, I received the short end of the stick. On top of not growing up with a father, the age gap between my siblings and me made it so that my mom would choose them over something I had. Her reasoning was that I was young and had more opportunities for her to be present. This never really worked out though, because even as my siblings got older, they still needed my mom. The last big thing she missed was my college move-in day because my brother was in a car accident and she drove to be with him. He was fine. He just needed help with insurance matters. I try to be okay with these things because I know my mom does not want to be put in these situations, but it always feels like I have to be the one okay with it. A couple of weeks ago, I was graduating college and obviously wanted my entire family to be there. My sister is heavily pregnant with her first child and could not attend. I was upset but understood that traveling so close to the due date is not recommended. I thought that was it until my mom called and told me that my sister had asked her to be with her in the delivery room. Since her due date was only 2 days apart from my graduation, she did not know if she could do both. I do not know what happened, but I just snapped. I started crying and asking why it always has to be me. Why do I always have to be the one that she misses out on? I told her that it is whatever. She always does this, and it will be just another thing she misses out on. Then I hung up. We did not talk about it again, but my mom came to my graduation. My sister gave birth the day after, and my mom was not there. A few days ago, my mom sat me down. She told me she could not make up for the past, but could try to make things right. She told me I could stay with her rent-free, and she would pay off the rest of my car note. My siblings only got to stay home rent-free for 6 months after college, so this was a big surprise. I guess this news somehow got to my sister, because I ended up getting a call from her where she proceeded to call me a spoiled brat who gets everything she wants. There was more said on the phone call, but that really sums it up. My mom said not to listen to her as it is just postpartum, but now my sister is demanding I apologize for taking mom away from her when she needed her the most. I really do not think I am the asshole here, but my mom thinks I should apologize to get it over with. So, am I the asshole? You are not the jerk. It was your mom's actions that resulted in her not being there when your sister gave birth, not yours. It's understandable that your sister might be stressed and hormonal, but there's really nothing for you to apologize for. Your feelings and milestones deserve to be acknowledged too, and your mom had to make a choice. If your sister continues to berate you, it's okay to hang up to protect your own well-being. Am I the jerk for getting frustrated with my partner's messages after my parent just died? My dad died a few days ago, and I'm mourning him. There were some difficulties with getting my family to organize a celebration of life for him, so it's mainly fallen to me. On top of this, I have a 2-month deadline to submit a research paper for my job before my contract is up. Afterwards, I will have to move to another research institute, likely not in the same country. Finally, I have recently developed frequent gastrointestinal pain, which is negatively impacting my quality of life. My girlfriend went to Europe to visit her sister and travel, tour, and sightsee. She booked her vacation long before my dad passed and flew out before then as well. I was with my dad in the hospital for around 14 hours the day before he died. I called her to talk to her, and she was supportive and spent a long time on the phone with me. 2 days later, while she was out touring, she sent me pictures of jewelry in the local shops that she likes in order to train me to understand her style. I wasn't very responsive to this, but she seemed adamant that I understand her preferences. The next day, she sent me another picture of jewelry, and I also wasn't very responsive. She picked up on this and asked what was wrong, so I told her. My dad just died, so jewelry shopping is not going to register in my mind. After this, she apologized, and I told her I knew she wasn't trying to be insensitive, but that there was a time and place for things like this. As far as I was concerned, the issue was settled. This morning, she messages me and tells me that she doesn't like the way I talked to her yesterday about the jewelry, and that it's better if we don't talk rather than dealing with our issues over text. She said she knows that I have a lot going on, but that she also has her reasons for sending me messages. I don't know what these reasons are, but I feel hurt by this. From my perspective, my dad just died. Much of the death arrangements have fallen to me, I'm weeks behind on work, and my girlfriend's biggest concern is that I told her I didn't want to talk about jewelry or consider it important. I thought the issue was settled, but evidently it wasn't settled for her. I feel like she has been insensitive and hasn't considered the issues I am facing, even though she knows about all of them. Am I the asshole? You acted correctly. Your girlfriend sounds extremely self-centered. Sending jewelry ideas just days after your father's death is an inconsiderate move. She isn't the supportive and loving partner you want or need, especially in such a tough time. Don't let her manipulate you into apologizing. She is definitely in the wrong here. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.